Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where today we're covering Germany against Scotland in the first game of the Euros. There's a couple of things we're really going to talk about here. We're going to obviously cover all the goals like we will for every game in the Euros, but there's something that happens when you play with a back five, which Scotland were doing, and you can see how many gaps are appearing. Can you see this huge sort of space here and this little space here? These things shouldn't be happening when you've got a back five, but that's not my biggest concern when they're changing this formation. And there's another thing that happens when you're playing with a back five instead of a back. Unless you're doing it regularly week in, week out, the players always seem like somebody else is doing their job and they don't have to go and do it. And there's a classic example where you've got Andy Robinson not going to pressure the ball or getting out here quick enough. Now, the advantage you have with a back five is your left and right back can always go and pressure the ball because you've always got somebody in behind you to cover for you. And the reason Robinson doesn't do it is because he's not used to playing in a back five. So he doesn't really go out and pressure the ball hard enough or do anything there. But that's not the real main reason that Scotland have got a problem and they didn't have a throughout the game. The real problem is if you draw that line there across where that back five is, yeah, we can see that, a little bit of a mess there. But there's also a massive gap here. And this is where the problem ends up arising, because this is where the goal comes from. This is where all their problems arise from, to be honest. They seem to get this wrong every single time. And that's concerning. I'm not sure if Scotland normally play with the back five, but if they've tried to do one of these technical switches in an international game just for one opponent, it's cost them dearly. So let's have a little look at this. Clearly, Robinson doesn't get out anywhere near quick enough. And if we just rewind it, actually, I'll show you from the other angle, because the other angle gives you a better view of what I really want to. Here we go. So from here we can see you don't mark the player out wide here. You leave these players alone, and the reason why is because you go and pressure the ball as the ball is played. So when that ball's in flight there in that travel, that is your time as a defender to go and get there. Now there's two things. You don't want to get there too tight, because if you get there too tight, they just play it straight in the space behind you and around and they'll play that on their first touch to go right around you. So you can get there, shut it down. Let's see what happens. Robinson's jogged from leaving his man here. You can see this guy hasn't got over quick enough, and neither is Andy Robinson. They're just too lazy. And then when you can see, look, right here, they're marking right here. Boom, 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 boom. Fine. Let's just see what happens as we move this forward now. Watch, door. Ball's gone. He's already started to get away from him. The extra little 2 yards there is all the difference. And you can already start seeing, how can you have a gap this big when you're playing with five at the back? One player's gone over here. One player's gone over here. He stayed with his man, and he should have been coming over and covering, but they haven't, because they don't really know what they're doing on a back five. Or if they're not comfortable doing that, what I mean by that is this guy's coming to tuck into here, because this guy's marking here. He comes over here, and he comes and pushes his player on a bit. They don't. They leave this massive pocket of space, which you can clearly see from this angle. So let's just move this forward. As the run goes, can you see? This guy's got completely and utterly caught out. See, he shouldn't need to worry about it. The midfielder at this point knows that there's 1v1. He's absolutely fine with that. Off they go. Let them back and go back to doing his job. Because that pocket of space is still there. Look. Can we see how big that is? Look. Massive. Got pulled out, pulled in, sucked away. And there's also, you're not doing anything. And this is the other thing that you find when you're playing with a back five. You always seem to find that one of your defenders just isn't needed because, well, you're not really playing it properly. It happens all of the time when people play back fives. There's very few times when I see good teams playing back fives because people just don't have the players for it. And remember, the reason, there's about 20 million reasons you're playing a back five. You might not have pace in the team and you're trying to, play an inverted triangle at the back so you can stop people getting in behind you. Maybe you've got really good left and right backs that are attacking, so you're doing it that way. There's lots of reasons, but I can't think of one that they're doing it for here at Scotland. So just watch here as this pocket of space. Now I want you to understand what's happened here. That defender that I said wasn't doing anything over here is the right back. The right back is now coming to the middle of the field to tackle the ball, to stop this shot. That's how much their shape is all over the place with the back five. It's just really not good enough. And playing with a back five with a flat four across the middle and not trying to have two people hold in front of you and then have two midfielders further forward. And the reason you do that, so imagine you've got, actually just use these two here and two further forward. So then you'd have your 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your left and right back, so they can get forward. But these two should pretty much hold, and these two can press forward with your striker, it would make much more sense, but they're not playing any sort of coherent system like that. And it's just a total a mess, and they got punished for it hard. In he comes, Bosch slots it into the net box, and yeah, I think the keeper should have done a little bit better there. He really should have. It's not good enough from an international goalkeeper. But let's get on to the next goal. Right now, they've started to identify that there's this disconnect between the midfield and the defence. You can see it. There's the defensive sort of line, but look how messy this is. Look what sort of shape that is. And there is their midfield line. Again, a little bit of a mess. Oh, and they've got 3 players in between the lines, completely and utterly unmarked. And you've got Tony Kroos on the other side, Kroos, you know, the guy that's won a bazillion Champions Leagues with Real Madrid. He's going to find and pick up players, and Gundogan is going to be able to turn and do whatever he wants. And that's what happens here. You cannot be playing at this high level, and like people will say, oh yeah, but the centre-backs don't know whether or not to go out. And so, yeah, really? The centre-backs at international level don't know whether they need to go out and mark and do a job? Well, they should really have a chat in about 30 seconds and fix that. They're international football players. If you're down the pub on a Sunday and people go, oh, well, I don't know if I want to go and mark him, someone will be yelling at you, go mark him, we'll fix it in 5 minutes. Do it. Just do the job for now. We'll work it out. That's not what's happened here. And you can see that this massive problem carries on throughout pretty much the whole game, to be fair. And they don't adjust or do anything about it. The ball comes in and he receives the ball. Right here, there's 3 players, then there's no Scotland players anywhere close to being able to make a challenge. Look how disconnected that is. Yeah, you saw it a minute ago, but this line, you've got one person trying to go, one person trying to hold, one person trying to hold. He's trying to get back. He doesn't know what to do because he can't leave his man out here wide. Well, he can. He's kind of all right. But again, it's a back 5, so he could be able to go right out there and cut off that lane. But he doesn't, because no one really knows what they're doing in this system. It just looks a complete mess. And because there's no pressure on the ball, that pass has been allowed to be made. And if there was pressure on the ball, it would have been almost impossible for him to pick the pass through all of those players and just put it straight on his foot. But there's no pressure on the ball. He's got all the time in the world. And some of these players on the German side are international footballers, and they can play a bit of a quality pass. Puts him straight in. To be fair, I think he should have just gone on here and had a shot on goal. Yes, he holds it up. Yes, they get it back. Yes, they do get a goal. But I think if you're a quality, wide player here at an international level, you're taking that ball and you're driving it at the goalkeeper and you're getting your shot away. He doesn't. Don't know if he's lacking confidence. Don't know if he's good enough. But that's what he should be doing at this level, and he doesn't do it. What he does do, however, is hold the ball up, wait for his team to arrive, little bit dancey feet, and he lays the ball back. And then gets a bit of a turn. But look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. No one's close enough to make a challenge. The midfielders aren't really back because, well, why would they be? And that's sarcastic, by the way. Of course they should be back. And he just gets to smash it into the net box. Overall, they just can't cope with their own system, Scotland. They're just giving it to Germany. They're just going, off you go, do what you want. We're not going to fix the problems right in front of us. You keep scoring goals. Let's get on to the next goal. Anyway, let's get on to the next goal because I've still got a lot more to cover. Okay, this is the run-up to the penalty. But again, I want to show you how bad this back 5 is. Look, you've got people just not doing anything. So now Germany will be able to push all their players on. But I want you to watch these 2 specifically. Oh my God, I get in so much trouble with my girlfriend by saying specifically, because I say specifically. Yeah, that's PTSD right there, boys and girls, PTSD. So watch this player come running in here and watch this space appear, because this is the space that is going to create the problem for the goal scoring opportunity. Then that'll go, the keeper will save it and make the penalty. But this is what's going on. So when people say, oh, don't follow him because you'll leave a pocket of space. Well, yeah, that's not really true, because you do have a back 5 and you've got 2 people here marking this one player. Can you see there's no responsibility here from these 2? The right back should be saying, I've got him, go inside and mark him. And then that guy would be able to go, okay, I've got him. And we should be able to have the player that's free near the ball, right? They've got the player that's kind of free here, the left and right back, the furthest away from the ball. You really kind of want these centre-backs because they're 1v1 here, and this guy's kind of marking. You want one of these guys to be free because that's where the ball is at the minute, in the middle. So as this defender comes out here to challenge, the other reason he does it is because the midfielder are nowhere near. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, all in a tight little space here, and none of them are anywhere near to challenge this guy here for the football. So that's the main reason the centre-back ends up coming out. And you can see this massive gap here and how easy that is for it to appear. So when this ball goes out wide out here, bomb, out it goes. now all that's happening is that space that the same striker who just pulled out the centre-back, they're just going to run in and use the same space here. And nobody deals with it. Look at how tight these three are here. He won't leave his man and go and cover over here. That means, again, they're not playing a back five correctly. And then I just think that comes down to they don't know what they're doing, because most of them all play in back fours and the whole system has thrown them all off and they don't really know what to do. Just look at it. You've got three players here. One, like, they're doing nothing at all. The ball's on the other side of the field. Yeah, and this gap here is just being exploited. Not only that, when the ball comes in, you can see there's two players in the box unmarked. Remember, he was marking them. This guy's taken two players out of the game for some reason. It's all over. It's terrible play at this level. So when the ball comes in, Bosch gets his knock, knocks it down, and then we get the penalty. He actually kind of has his hands on the ground when he go, double foot karate chops in with his studs up in his ankle. Gundogan's quite lucky he didn't get his leg broken, to be fair. I don't think the wee kid, he meant it. I think he was just trying to win the ball and he's frustrated being 2-0 down. He's not really trying to hurt the guy. Because if he did actually try to hurt him, he would have snapped his leg right there. So yeah, it's a pen. Just as Havertz goes to take the penalty, he does this little stop and rock motion. A lot of people do that nowadays. I don't even know if you're allowed. Like, here's the problem with the rules. They change them so often. They do that in lots of professions all over the world, by the way, just so you don't know what's going on. One of the main ones is like things like credit card processing. They're so complicated, and then they change them every year, so no one can ever be prosecuted on them because no one ever knows what they are. And it's the same sort of thing that happens in football. Are you not allowed? I swear they were told you weren't allowed to stop on the approach to the ball, and or if your slowing down motion is the same thing. I think Neymar got everybody in trouble for it once upon a time. But as soon as he stops, the keeper sort of gives telegraphs where he's going to go, and he just spots it in the other way. Yeah, there we go. Let's get on to the next goal. Okay, I know they're down to 10 men, blah-de-blah-de-blah, but still you can see the same problem happening with this massive pocket of real estate right there. Now, see, if they were trying to pressure the ball out over here, look, you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guy over here. You really can't be doing this. There's this... At some point, I mean, this is into the second half now. At some point, one of the midfielders must recognise that they're getting done because there's this massive pocket of space and somebody needs to sit in front of it. Or one of the centre-backs says, right, I'm going to step forward into midfield. Out of the three of us, I'm going to do this. When the ball's played, when the opportunity's right, just so we don't keep getting done, because we're a player down and we need the extra cover here in midfield where we were getting overrun in the first place. They don't identify it. So when this ball gets played in here, look, you can see, look, it's the middle of the field, for crying out loud. This guy's too high. I don't know why he thinks he needs to be tracking this player. Tracking the runner from midfield is moronic. If you're already back, he runs towards you, and then you've got the advantage. He doesn't see that, doesn't understand. See if I can back that up just a second, because that's the same player there that he was supposed to be going with, but he wasn't. So he's done him for pace through the midfield, run all the way through, and he's laying the ball back. Oh, look, where that space was that I was talking about a second ago, now it's on top of the 18-yard box, because it's the exact same space there. The only difference is now the back five line of idiots were here, bluff. Now they're here, bluff. And the space, instead of being over here, bluff, is now here. What a shock. And then this little wee kid, he comes in, does a bit of voodoo magic on the football. As he comes in, voodoo magic, and smashes it into the net box. It's a quality goal, to be fair. Let's get on to the next goal. Scotland get themselves a goal, but this is the same problem I've been yelling at about all year in the Premier League. If you watched it in my videos, you know exactly what I'm about to say. There's the defensive line. If you put in a quality football, every single one of these players is running towards the net box. So that means chances are anyone that touches the ball, it goes towards the goal. If you're back here, when you defend the ball, you kick it away from your net box. I know it sounds complicated, but you'll be shocked of how many goals in the Premier League this season were scored because defenders were trying to play a cute high line, forgetting that every single team on the world has a person that can whip the ball in from a dead ball situation and punish them. And that's exactly what happens here. This ball gets whipped into the space and lets all the players attack it. Now, again, this is to do with physics. People just don't understand this because they think, oh, we're footballers. We're stupid. 2 + 2 is my Ferrari. So when you're running this way, if you touch the ball's going to end up going this way. So any sort of knock on that he does here, it just bounces towards back post, because that's where everyone's going towards. I don't mean everyone's going towards the back post. I mean, that's where the ball's bouncing, so it's going towards the goal. It's like a magnet, a mountain. So when he knocks the ball here, bump, because everyone's running back and no one is set to defend, it takes this little nick off the defender and it goes in goal. But it all comes from their original line as setting themselves up to making it easy. If any touch towards the goal with a bit of power on it is going to create a real problem for them. And it does, and it goes into the goal. Let's get on to the last goal. Again, we're going to see, look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 players taken out of the equation. Oh, remember that big pocket of gappy, bappy, wappy space that we've been talking about the whole time? Have a guess what? It's still there. We've got nobody that wants to be over there. We've got a couple of players here and a couple of players over here trying to give each other their own autograph. Apparently, they're playing a high line there and a high line facing that way for some reason. We can see this is where the ball's going to be picked up. He's going to turn and smack it into the net box there. He's going to have a nice, easy run at the goal because there's just no one close to him. Let's have a look as this ball gets played in. Bosh, there we go. Top of the D, takes a touch. And nobody is close enough to pressure the ball. Even these players out wide here, none of them were actually pressuring the ball. They were just trying to make a little, I don't know, shape around the 18-yard box. He takes all the time in the world, takes a touch, and smashes it into the net box. It's that easy. I'll see you on the next one. We've got long Euros ahead of us. Thanks a lot.